when we selected the theme of community, women's leadership, and immigrant stories, it's because we all relate to those three things. The intersectionality of these three themes are parts of our lives, are parts of your lives, are parts of the lives of the communities that we work and that we care about. And you heard Dean Cash earlier talk about the New York Times and Fox News today. So these themes of community, women's leadership, and the immigrant story couldn't be more important than today, in today's world. And we see it every time. We see how women are attacked because they're leaders in the community, because they're taking action. This is not news. We have experienced this, our mothers and grandmothers, they have experienced this too. It's just that we are emboldened now to say we're not going to stop. No, nothing is going to stop us, and we will continue, and we will raise our voices, and you will hear us. So I think the theme of community, the intersectionality of that with women's leadership is so critical and important. Like Lydia and Charlotte mentioned, we see that in our communities. In the community that I work every day in Villa Victoria, we see that every day. It's the women of the community who say, we need to do something about the schools. We need to do something about health. We need to do something about crime. We need to do something about traffic control. We need to do something about the pedestrian crossing that people are not paying attention to. From the little thing to the big things, women are always paying attention. They're the keepers of the community. In our boards, in the community boards, women are represented predominantly more than men. And it's not that men don't care, it's just that we feel this sense of entitlement and this sense of ownership of taking care of our community and to take action, like, you spring into action. And, a good example in the Latino community is Amplify Latinx. After the 2016 election, Betty Francisco and Eneida Roman said, like, we need to do something. And they galvanized a group of us. It's like, you got to help us. We need to do something. And that first few lunches has morphed into a movement of organizing the community to have more political power, more political representation, and primarily to push women to run for office, among many other things. So I think that it's those things and those stories that we bring as immigrants, that we bring as transplants. I'm not a native Bostonian. I'm from Puerto Rico, and the history and the story of Puerto Ricans is somewhat slightly different from the immigrant story, but there are a lot of things in common. We are migrants, just as people who come from other countries. And interestingly, our story of oppression, both in the island and here, is more similar to the story of African Americans in this country. So those similarities, that intersectionality between our migrant story, between our community story, between our female leadership stories, is critical to understand not only our history, but where we're going and how we can continue to empower more young women. So one of the many things that I'm excited about this fellowship, aside from coming back to my alma mater, is to definitely share the wisdom with these wonderful powerhouses and to share our wisdom, collective wisdom, with you, hear from you as well, and with the students. Just this last week, I met with one of the students, a mentee from the WCPPP program. How many P's are there? 3? In any case, WCPPP, or whatever. You got it. And it was so amazing to spend some time with her, to hear her dreams and aspirations, what she wants to do in life, and see myself reflected in her, and think about, yes, how can I be of a resource for her, and so she can pay it forward, because the reality is that I feel, that I owe so much to many of you in this room and to so many others that I'm standing on the shoulders of community, of women, and immigrants who have done so much before. So I'm really looking forward to reflect on those themes, to talk about those themes, to highlight and exalt leaders before us, and to empower the future leaders that will come after us. So this is really exciting, and thank you for the opportunity.